Hi everyone and welcome to episode 14 of my Fiber podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a podcast about weaving, knitting and other yarny crafts. Hello, I hope you had a nice week. I've noticed that a few new people joined, some that I know of and some that I don't. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this week's episode. I have a few new things to share this week. I've been on a starting madness again. Only small and fast projects, thankfully. So, my dad's laughing. The summer is starting, so people are on holidays right now, so my house is going to be a little bit more noisy than usual, and my schedule it risks to be a little bit hectic from now on. But I hope you won't mind if there's an occasional hysterical laughter going on at the background. I don't even know if you were able to hear it, but yeah, there's probably going to be a dog, there's probably going to be my sister slamming doors as the beautiful teenager that she is, and my dad laughing at the TV. But yeah, that's how it's going on. I'm going to try to keep this as smooth as I can, besides the distraction. And yeah, I think we can start with some weaving. I am still working on that big project that I keep talking to you about. As usual, I'm just going to insert some pictures here of my progress. I actually noticed that I am now closer to finishing it. I think I've done more than half. If you don't consider the fact that I'll have to deal with the back, because as this involved many color changes and transitions, I have a ton of ends to deal with at the back, and I'll do that at the end, and I'll probably take a picture of it before I start fixing it, just so that you can see how the back of a weave like that can look. And I have made another hole in the weave. If you can see, there are two holes, and this is where I plan to insert the fringe. And I am not sure yet of what color that fringe is going to be. I hope I'm going to be able to make it of a specific structure that I have in mind, but this will have to wait until all the weave around it is complete, so that I can get a better idea of how it looks. And yeah, as usual, mostly I've used KnitPicks Palette for it, which is a really nice yarn to weave, because it's smooth but it's not too fuzzy, and it has a color range that is really nice. I really appreciate it as a weaver. Yeah, I can go on with other weaving projects. Last week I showed you that I finished the cloth for the pillow covers, and I sewed them. So I have two of them. They're similar, they're a pair, but not identical, like I said. And the sewing went on without any casualties. I usually make sure, when I know that my weaving is going to have to go through the sewing machine, that it's not too bulky. So this is KnitPicks Palette, so it made a really flat and thin weave that didn't have any issue with the machine. I'm not even using a specific foot or needle. I think if you have a thicker weave, maybe you could use at least a different needle, so that it could go through easily. But so far I've only used the normal needle, the same that I use for plain cotton fabric, and it worked fine. This is a single Peruvian wool that is rather thick, but it went on without any issues, and yeah, the line is quite nice. This is a simple sturdy cotton, so I sewed everything together, I filled it up, and I closed with a zigzag stitch the opening. Yeah, there's not much to say about sewing your weaving really, except that you need to find the courage to do it. I myself am still a bit dreadful about using a sewing machine, even though I really want to learn how to sew my own garments. But you know, it's a whole setup, and I need to take out the pattern and draft the pieces and cut the fabric, and in my head all of this prep work is not actually making. So this is why I have a hard time actually starting to learn how to sew. But I managed to get it done one morning for the pillows. And yeah, sewing your weaving isn't really much of an issue. You just need to make sure that your weave isn't too bulky and that it stands flat, which is easy to do if you just press it. You know, what you do is that you put a normal cotton fabric, you wet it, and you place it on top of your weave, and then you press that so that your iron isn't actually touching your weave, and this way you end up with something that's really flat and smooth and that lines up perfectly when you pin it with whatever you want to sew it on, whether it's a bag to make a pillow or a zipper if you want to make a pouch, and or any other type of bag, and it works really nicely. And I'm glad I've done that. There are others, they're about 30 per 20 centimeters. It's a small decorative pillow. I really like them. I'm happy that I managed to get them done, and they're in my Etsy shop right now if you fancy having a look. I did have quite of a big shop update last weekend, but I'll talk about it more later because it was mostly hand-dyed yarn that was in the shop. So yeah, I'll have some dyeing to show you later on. But I'm all over the place. I told you I was going to be distracted by all the noise. But I have some podcast notes in my thing to try and be organized. But yeah, that's not working very well. For example, the pillows weren't even noted on that. Complicated week. But I do have something really nice to show you, so I hope you can ignore my rambling. I have a little bit of weaving mojo coming back, especially for wall hangings. Whip. And this is what I've done. I didn't weave in the round for a very long time. This is something that I really like. I enjoy working in the round because it is very different from any other type of weaving. But the truth is, I don't really like my loom. This is why I haven't finished it. This is almost finished. I just need to fill up the bottom of the fringe and sew the ends in. But I wanted to show it to you on the loom to talk a little bit about circular weaving. My loom is a loom that I got on an European website, a European craft website, and it's nice and sturdy, that's not the problem, and it's a good size as well. But it's just that the way you have to warp it is you basically end up with two, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but you see I have two sets of warp. The way you do it is that you attach it to one end and then you go to the other end and then you go from the back around again and you keep wrapping it around the circle. So you end up with a double warp. See, there's one at the bottom here and one at the top. And that makes it quite a bit fussy to work on because basically when you're weaving you have to make sure that you only catch the top threads and not the bottom ones. I don't know if I can find a way to show you the fact that there are two sets of You see this, all of this here is empty, and I've only woven on the top threads. So it makes it quite hard to read it when you're weaving it, and you just have to keep making sure that you're not catching up an extra thread. And it's a bit fussy, and it makes long ends to deal with, and I don't know, I'm not very happy with that loom, but I do enjoy working in the round. It makes up for a nice interesting effect. You usually have to, you can't do normal plain weave when you do it in the round, because you're not having an even number of warp. So if you just do under 1 over 1, under 1 over 1, you're going to end up with the weft overlapping each other, which won't be really pretty. So what you usually do when you circle the weave is that you do over 2 under 1, over 2 under 1, over 2 under 1. And since you're working in a spiral, the placement shifts. So you're actually using every warp strings. And it gives that nice, I don't know, yeah, you can see it in the center. It gives a nice spirally effect. And yeah, I've used a simple cotton thread for the warp. This is a lamb's wool. This and this here is a lovely handspun by Liza Pate Collections, who does a lot of handspun and hand-dyed packs for weavers. This is a merino in a corally dusty red color, and this mustard is a really rustic yarn from Brittany, from France, that I hand-dyed myself in this mustard tobacco color, and I really like it. I've also inserted some black and white what's the word? It's not properly variegated. We say chiné. It's when, you know, there are two colors and it looks a bit tweedy, but it's not. The word is not tweedy. Anyway, it's black and white yarn that I've used to make a little bit of contrast. You have some sumac here. Here you have a linen and viscose thread that I got from String Harvest, and you can't really see, but this is a sumac as well. And finally, I've made a little fringe with some recycled sari silk. And this is how the weave is going to stand up. This will look a little bit better over there. Will be tucked in, and yeah, this will be a small wall hanging. I already have the circle for it ready. This is a metallic circle, and I just wrapped that same mustard hand-dyed yarn all around it. So this is how it's going to look like. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the center of a circular weave. It always looks a bit weird. The thing is, you end up with, let me show you. One good thing about that loom is that I can show you this. If you see that mess here of threads crossing each other and making like a really bulky thing right here, this is how you finish, when you finish warping your loom. This is what you have. Now obviously this is a bit messy and you cannot start weaving with this. So what you do is that you take your end of thread and you start making knots all around it to kind of tighten the center together and make it as pointy as possible to have almost a perfect center to then start weaving around. But as a consequence, you end up with something that doesn't look very nice. It's just a bulk of threads with other threads trying to knotting it together, and it really looks fugly. So what I've been experimenting a little bit with that, and what I've come up as a solution for this one is that I did that thing where I knotted everything together. I started weaving and pushing back my thread of lamb's wool here to kind of tighten and secure that around in the middle. And then once that was secured enough, I just undid the knots that, yeah, you can't, it's not focusing, I'm sorry, but yeah. So this doesn't actually have any knots going across it. So you just have a bundle of warp threads, but they're not knotty. So I think that makes it a little bit better, even though it's still going to look a bit weird. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a solution, and it's quite smooth now, and yeah, I like the look of it. I'm going to finish it soon and put it in its circle, and hopefully next time I will just show it to you normally hang. Yeah, and I believe with that one I am done with weaving. And let me check. Yes, I haven't done much spinning. I'm still spinning that red and orange merino that I showed you a couple of episodes ago, but it's been really hot lately, so I can't do much spinning, sadly, because yeah, the fiber, I don't want to risk felting the fiber in my hand if it's like 40 degrees outside like it has been. It seems like today and the following days it's going to be a little bit cooler, so maybe I'll be able to have some spinning done, which would be really nice because I do have I have a braid of merino nylon that I want to spin to make a sock yarn, to have hand spun socks. And I have what do I have? I have, yes, some alpaca. I have a lot of alpaca, that a white alpaca that I want to spin and 2-ply, and that I want to knit in a shawl. Haven't decided which shawl yet, but yeah, I used to think I would do the boho blush like this, but I kind of changed plans, and I'll do the boho blush in a yarn that I already have, and that I think will look really good with it. So I had to switch my alpaca plan to something else, and I'm basically lurking Ravelry every day, trying to find a good shawl for hand spin yarn. I do have a finished spinning to show you. Those are tagged, I'm sorry, because they're in my shop now, but those are some single art yarn that I did a couple of weeks ago, and they're finished now. So this is just a blend of different merinos, and the dark forest that you can see is silk. So yeah, it's a thick and thin, you can see here, thin, thick art yarn, and it's in coral, orange, mint, and grey, and dark green, which is the silk. And yeah, I have about, let me check, I have about 40 grams of it, so that's more than enough to weave. And I have a second one, which is as well merino and banana silk. So the white that you can see, which is really sheer here, is banana silk. And then we have some saffron, hot pink, and lilac merino. And this one is, oh, I didn't write it. It was 57 grams, I think. Yeah, spinning banana silk is a pain. It gets really fuzzy. When you look at it like this, once it's spun and washed, it looks really nice and smooth. It's silk. It's basically very silky. It doesn't feel like normal silk, but it has the look of it. But spinning it is a nightmare. Like, it gets really fuzzy, and I don't know if the staples are really short, but they were just flying everywhere, and I was wearing black leggings and I was covered in a white powder of banana silk fiber. But I do really like the look that it gives to this art yarn. So yeah, this is the spinning content that has been done for a while, but I still wanted to show it to you. And I have some dyeing. Like I said, I had a big a big shop update last weekend, and it involved these pillows, these art yarns, and as well a lot of sock yarn. So yeah, sock yarn. I wanted to dye a bunch of sock yarn for the shop, and I have 4 different colorways. This is redhead. So I dye my yarn in 2 50-gram skeins because it is more manageable for me to dye, because I don't have a whole lot of proper equipment to do so in my kitchen. And also because if you want to make a pair of socks, well, you have it, and it's more manageable if you want to weave as well, if you just need to take a little bit of yarn. And yeah, this is redhead, and I managed to get real speckles. Look how nice. So yeah, I have one that is straight out of the dye pot. I really like how this looks. Seeing the color working like in one block, I think these kind of skeins look much prettier. But at the same time, I know some people really like seeing the yarn reskinned, because it gives them a better impression of how the colors are going to knit up together, and it also allows you to see if it's going to pull, and it makes for a more consistent skein in the end. So yeah, that's why I have one reskinned and one that is not, and I think it looks funny on this. It is an interesting process, how one yarn can look so different and it being the exact same colorway. So all of the colorways that I'm going to show you, I have one of each in the shop right now. Like I said, it's a soft sock yarn. It's not merino. It's a little bit softer than Opal yarn. If you know Opal yarn, it's a little bit softer than it, but it's still a sturdy sock base. So this is redhead. This is vanille fraise, which is vanilla strawberry. Just yeah, pretty straightforward pink and yellow. This is Wicked, that I really like. I intentionally wanted a lighter lilac, but I think that the strong purple and the navy blue work really well together, and we have some yellow orangey speckles. I mean, look at that. I got the hang of speckles. I'm happy. It was quite a challenge, and I really like how this looks reskin as well. Wicked. And the last one is Puppies. Puppies, which I already showed you Puppies in a rustic wool a long time ago. I have Puppies on 100-gram skein of pure wool and on this sock base. So Puppies is a bright red and orange with tiny specks of green and blue. I am very happy with my dye results lately. I would like to get some more subtle colorways for the summer. So I think the goal right now is going to be to just put more water in my dye to make sure that I have like really more pastel colors and subtle muted tones. And yeah, but if you like bright colors and you are in the look for sock yarn, the link to my shop is in the description. And yeah, Spackle success, I wrote in my podcast notes. Yeah, I think I am done with the little spinning and dyeing segment, and we can start with some knitting, which is again quite a huge chunk of this week's podcast. I have so many knitting plans. I will talk to you about some of my knitting plans at the end of the episode, but without further ado, I have no idea what that what that expression means. How do you look it up? Well, I know what it means. What I mean is that what is that? What is ado? Anyway, I'm thinking about it because I think it was Katie from Inside Number 23 whose latest podcast was something like that. She used the expression as well. I'm rambling. This is my featherweight cardigan. This is a pattern by Hannah Fettig, and I am knitting it out of Knit Cosmic Strings lace in the peony colorway. I'm trying not to get the needles clicking this time. And here's how it looks. A little bit blown out. It's a soft pink and lavender with some rusty speckles. And this is where I'm at. I think I'm needing 5 centimeters extra for the body before starting the ribbing. Now it reaches my hip. And I want it to be a little bit longer than that. Because I'm quite hippie, so... no, not hippie, but I'm quite hippie. So I would need a cardigan to go a little bit over that bump in my body shape. But yeah, after that I am going to pick up for the neck, for the side and the neckband, and then I will do the sleeves. I have quite a bit of yarn left. I have this left, and I have another ball that was about the same size. So yeah, I'm thinking I could have even held the yarn double and I would have gotten up with maybe a cropped cardigan and short sleeve, but I'm really happy that way because I'm going to be able to make quarter length sleeves like I wanted originally, and I am super happy with it. I know like this it looks quite fragile, but if I put it on, you'll see that it doesn't work well with that top, but you see that it looks quite nice. The cat doesn't care so much about my cardigan, but yeah, it is quite an open front cardigan, the featherweight cardigan, so if you like closed cardigan, I guess it's not for you, or you would have to make more increases here. But for me, it stays like this, and it's rolling. And then I will add the ribbing, so it will still be a cardigan that ends up like here, which is what I wanted. And yeah, it's nice. It's definitely going to fit me. I'm a little bit concerned about the blocking, simply because my tension isn't very consistent. This is a really fine lace. It's almost cobweb. It had 1,200 meters to the 100 grams. So yeah, that is really thin. And I'm using 4mm needles, meaning that my fabric is it's a bit hard to not have a stitch getting loose, basically. So if you look at my stitches, they don't look very good if you look at it closely. I don't mind it so much because I know it's going to smooth out, but I'm afraid to soak it to block it, basically, because I don't want it to drag down and to leave a more holey fabric, because this is already quite sheer and quite soft. So I would like the fabric to stay like this, and I don't know how the yarn is going to behave, if it's going to bloom or if it's going to stretch out and make my stitches even more open. So I've been considering steam blocking it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be as effective as far as evening the stitches go. I'll just have to test, I think. I'm really happy with how it's going. I would like to have it done before the end of June, because I want to enter it in Amy Florence from the Stranded Podcast, but Knit Cow. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't have much of the body left. I've looked at the pattern again to know how to pick up for the neck, and I really appreciate that she gives precisely the location and the amount of, not the amount of stitches, because sometimes the pattern just says like pick up 100 stitches along the neckline or something, and I'm not very good at picking up stitches. It's something that I don't like doing because it always looks wonky. Maybe I should just document myself about it. But she doesn't do that. She says pick two stitches every 3 rows when it's when you're picking up the stockinette along the stockinette edge, or picking up per stitch when you're picking up at the cast on edge. And I really appreciate that. That way I know I'm not going to be making any mistakes, and that it will look rather neat, instead of me trying to figure out where to pick up the next stitches, and if skipping that amount of fabric isn't going to make a bumpy hole. So yeah, I'm less stressed about picking up the neckband that I was before. And I actually can't wait to be doing it, because basically once it would have the neckband, it will have a proper cardigan look, and it will look much more polished. So I know that when things look polished, I am more eager to finish them. So yeah, this needs to be done before end of June. And 2 weeks ago, I casted on the flax sweater that I am knitting for my boyfriend, but it's on pause until I finish at least my featherweight cardigan. And we'll see later if I pick that up or if I start one of the dozens project that I have in my mind. And I have gone a little bit overboard with socks. If you remember, I was knitting the driftwood socks, which is a pattern by Minnie Phillip, and it's this lovely texture patterns. So the yarn is Reef Dive by Stranded Dyeworks, which I just mentioned, and this is the first sock, and I've done the heel. Woohoo! I've done the heel a couple of days ago, and this is a German short row heel, which I liked. I actually almost just did a fish lip kiss heel, but then I thought that I should just try to learn a new heel, and that is ridiculously easy. I couldn't believe how easy, because she gave links to her tutorial, and I looked at her doing it, and in her tutorial she's just showing you the construction of the heel, and so she's not showing you properly the German short row technique. So I watched her video and I was like, oh, what's happening? I don't understand. and she gives links to a very pink knits tutorial that shows you really the technique of the stitch for the German short row. And I looked at very pink knits tutorial and was like, excuse me, what's that? And it is so silly. If you don't know, the German short row heel, basically what you do, you know, to make a short row you need to have some sort of a double stitch, whether it's a wrap and turn, whether it's a the one for the fish lip kiss heel where you pick up something. And this, what you do is that, you know, when you pull a knit stitch and you have the V under it that comes over, well, this is it. And was a bit confused, like, why? And it works. So I did a German short row heel. I'm not sure if I like it as much as the fish lip kiss heel. I did a bit of a boo-boo at first. If you look on this side of the heel, basically I did the first half with no problem because I had my double stitches going on and it worked nice. But as soon as I had to do the other half of the heel and make double stitches in previous double stitches, you know, you end up with a really bumpy thing, and it actually looked like it was a triple stitch to me, and I wasn't sure what to do and what I was actually supposed to knit. If I was supposed to catch up the 3 strands of yarn that I was seeing, or if the stitch and the sort of yarn over that was on it was my double stitch. It turns out that this was the double stitch, the simple stitch plus what looked like your yarn over. This must be really confusing if you're never knitting any short rows. Basically look up the tutorial by Very Pink Knits. I link it up in the description so you can have a look. It's a really easy technique, but I just did a mistake in the first one and I dropped what I thought was a yarn over, was an extra yarn over. I dropped it, which is why it's showing here. And it's actually part of the double stitch, so that's what I was supposed to knit. But when you do it properly, it looks neater to me than the fish lip kiss heel. You know, the fish lip kiss heel, it has a little bumpy effect. This doesn't. This is really smooth. So I like it for that. And once I figured out what I was actually supposed to do, it wasn't as fiddly as I thought it would be. So yay, new heel technique learned. I'm still enjoying the pattern. I think it looks really beautiful and it works well with the yarn, because even though it's heavily speckled and thin, it still shows up really nicely. This is what I like about Mina Phillips' sock pattern, is that they're all textured, but they all work really well with these pretty variegated speckled schemes that you have. Because you know, sometimes you have a really pretty pattern for a sock and you know you're gonna have to use a solid color so that the pattern will show properly. But you have so many beautiful variegated schemes and I just don't want to do vanilla socks all the time. Yeah, so if you're looking for a nice texture pattern that will work well with variegated yarn, do check Mina Phillips. This is the first one I'm knitting for her, but I have one of her sock collections and I'm pretty sure I'll also get her some of her New York collection socks, because I'm seeing people knitting. It's really making me want to sign up for it. However, what really needs a vanilla sock is stripy, self-striping yarn. This is a gobstoppable by Roving on Etsy. She's a UK-based indie dyer. She doesn't often have yarn in her shop, from what I've seen, but when she does, do check her out. I've seen this, like it was the only one available in her shop, and I just had to have it. Basically, it's stripes of bright blue, more like a dark muted navy jeans blue, a really nice brown, mint and purple, and I think it was Friday. I was a bit bummed all day for no reason, as you do, you know. And comes the evening and I said, okay, I just want to custom something nice, something new, and I started the sock. I've done one color repeat, I think. I have a blue, brown, purple, the darker blue, the mint, and then it starts at the blue again. This is 60 stitch. Maybe I should have done 56, but I really wanted to knit them on 9-inch circulars. Those are the higher sharps. And I felt like 56 stitches on 9-inch was maybe a little bit, it was maybe not enough. So this is okay, this isn't too big, it's just that it won't be super snug socks. Which is fine, because I want them to be long. Just because, I mean, when you have stripy socks, you have to have a really long leg. I have a little bunny here. And yeah, simple, mindless knitting, and I really love the color of it. So this was an unplanned cast on that I did because I felt bummed and I just wanted to do it, so I did it. But it unleashed other things. And at the same time, no, it wasn't Saturday. So the next day I saw that Life is Cozy. If you don't know, Life is Cozy is making a lot of patterns, a lot of free patterns that you can find on Ravelry. I already knitted her Stormy Sky shawl. I'm gonna put a picture here, which I really liked. It was a really beautiful and simple lace shawl. And she said on Instagram that she was looking for test knitters for her new sock pattern. And I've been wanting to test knit for someone for quite a while, but I never dared to apply, you know. I've seen Andrea Murray ask for testers, I've seen a lot of people asking for testers, and I was like, never dared. I never dared, and I actually did it on Saturday. Yeah, because I was like, okay, I already cast on another sock, just give the sock. I want to cast on all the things. And she accepted. So I am test knitting her new sock pattern. So these are called the Spring Stream socks. It doesn't have a Ravelry page yet. I think I've checked. She didn't put it up yet, but I'll link to her Instagram. I can show it to you because she said it's no secret. And this is what I have so far. I am knitting with Opal, an Opal yellow yarn, because it is a really textured sock and I wanted it to be in a solid. And looking at it, at the picture that she posted of it on Instagram, I thought, oh, this will be really nice with this golden yellow that I have. And I wasn't wrong. Look how pretty that pattern looks. It is a really enjoyable knit. I am knitting the 56 stitch, so this is her smallest size. She offers 3 sizes. This is the smallest one. I am knitting on 2.25 millimeter needles. These are my Addy lace with the dreadful cable that I'm desperately trying to tame. It seems to be working a little bit better this time, so I'm glad. And this is what I have. I have about half of the leg done. Obviously you can do the leg however long you want. This is a 2-row repeat, the texture. You wouldn't think, right? It's really nice. It works really well. It's really clever because it gets in your mind really easily, and you have sort of guidelines. You see, you have these lines of slip stitch and these purl ribs that kind of make sure that you know where you are. That way your knitting is really easy to read. And yeah, I did a 1x1 rib for 14 rounds, like that's what she does as well, and I think that's a nice cuff length. But yeah, it is really nice. I think it would be a really good first pattern for someone that is looking to go beyond vanilla socks, because it's really easy. Like there's no stitch, like it's just decreases and a certain type of increase, but she explains it really well in her pattern, and it's really simple, and it looks much more complicated than it is, which is why, and it's really satisfying to get that look with such a simple knit, which is why I think if you're a beginner and you've knitted some vanilla socks and you want to try a texture socks, definitely check Life is Cozy. The deadline for our test knit is in 2 weeks, June 10th, 24, so it will be okay. I will have them done without any problem. So yeah, I think you can expect her to release the pattern quite soon. This is really nice. And something about socks. With these 2 new cast-ons, I learned a new cast-on. I learned a new heel, new cast-on. I just need to learn new bind-off, which I always never do because I'm too lazy. I've did a German twisted cast-on, which I've also heard it can be called the Old Norwegian cast-on. It's supposed to be much more stretchy than the long-tailed cast-on, and it is. I think it is. On this one I've been tight as hell like an idiot, but I like the look of it. It's just normal, and it is stretchy. It's also surprisingly easy. I've had to look at, again, a Very Pink Knits tutorial of this cast-on a couple of times to get what she was doing. But then if you know the long tail cast-on, there's no difficulty switching it to a German. And so I actually did learn this cast-on for these socks. And when I cast on these socks, I automatically did the German twisted cast-on without even intending to. So I just straight on went with it. And it's nice. I wonder if there are other stretchier cast-on for socks, because I always hear about this one, the German twisted cast-on, and you know, I'll have to look if there are stretchier ones. If you're a sock knitter and you know of a really stretchy cast-on for socks, do let me know, because I found that 56 stitches work really well for me. If not, if I do 60 or 64, I really have to knit on 2mm and preferably on DPNs, so that I'm really tight gauge with DPNs. And I think she's taking a fan. Yeah, it's quite hot in here, so I think my sister just stole a fan to put in her room. So that was the noise. I'm sorry if you heard that. What was I saying? Yes, 56 stitch is really good for me, but it makes like the cast on could be a little bit more stretchy. And I know I could just, you know, cast on 60 and go down afterwards, but I'm too lazy to do that. Yeah. Knitting. Oh, I also wanted to tell you how I pick up the stitch at the corner of a heel. Because I hear a lot of people saying they have trouble with heels and that they have a hole at the corner of their short, especially short row, any short row like Fishslip Kiss heel or German short row. Some people always have a hole in the corner of their heel. Well, I never do. I did it once with the heel flap and gusset, but that was my first sock. And now I think I found a way to do it that makes it so that I don't have any hole. And yeah, so since I hear a lot of people talking about this, how to avoid holes in their sock, I just thought I'd contribute to the discussion. How can I show it to you? Let's see if I can show it to you on this one, because I'm going to have a, yes. Let's say I've done the heel and this is a corner where I need to pick up a stitch. So you see, you don't see anything. You see, say, this line here, this line of stitches. I would pick a stitch that would be already inclined in the direction that I want to go. So say I would pick up, can't show it to you because it's dark. Jesus Christ. Intense podcasting skills. So instead of picking up the 2 strands of the stitch, I will pick up just the bottom leg. Let me try to isolate. So I will pick up that stitch. Do you see it? That stitch here that goes in line like this. But I wouldn't pick the 2 strands like this, because if I do that, I'm gonna have a hole. So what I do is that I pick up the bottom leg of that stitch, and I pull it up. And what I find that it does is that it kind of twists the stitch, because you still have that top leg here that is close to the hole. So you see, full stitch, just one leg. And the fact that you leave that one leg here, it twists your stitch and it covers any possible hole. For me, this is what I've done in my past 4 or 5 socks, and it always worked and I did not have a hole. So yeah, maybe something to consider if you know you have holes in the corner of your short row heels. Don't pick a full stitch, pick the bottom leg of one, so that you end up twisting the stitch and covering any possible holes. Yeah. I'm sorry about that terrible knitting tutorial. I guess I didn't pick up the best. It is quite light though. It's just that there's no focus if I go closer to the camera. Anyway, I think I'm done with knitting now. And I have to, before jumping into some dream knitting plans, I have 2 other fibercraft things to talk about. First is my cross stitch. I started to do cross stitch. This is my first project, and now one of my fox has a face. It's not a complete face, but it's the start of a face, and yay! I'm really happy with how it looks. It's beautiful. I started the neck of the second fox as well. Did I make a mistake? No, I didn't. This is always what I'm doing with this, is I take it, I look at it, and I start working on it, and like, oh my god, did I do a mistake? And then I realize that I didn't. So it's fine. So far, so good. Back. It's okay, it's okay. And yeah, lovely, lovely little fox. It has a tail. Every time I show it to you, I just want to work only on that and get the whole hoop completed. And that's so many projects, so little time. And the second thing I want to show you is another fiber craft. Like, I'm not doing enough different things. I've been quite intrigued by needle felting for a while, and I wanted to make little silly things as gifts for people. And I made a bird. Before you make fun of me, my mom thought it was a real one that this little guy here would have killed, because he just brings us birds, you know. So I showed it to my mom. I hold it like this, you know. My mom just went like, "What? But he's dead! Which cat did it?" It's not a real bird, but thanks, Mom, I guess. Oh my god. This, however, was really fun to do and really therapeutic. I think if you are... I did this Friday as well, which was when I was bummed. So I think if you are annoyed with something, just pick up needle felting, because you're literally poking something constantly with a very sharp needle, and you're going really fast and you're just poking that thing. Yeah, it's kind of a good way to get your nerves out on something, I guess. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it, and I mean, it's not so bad. It's my first needle felting thing. I never needle felted before. It looks like a Ninja Turtle, okay. I admit that what's going on in the eye just make it look like a superhero bird, but I mean, we're in a superhero mood right now, aren't we, with the Wonder Woman movie, which I really want to see, but cinemas are really expensive here, so yeah. It is made out of full wool, because I have so many scrap fiber that I can't really use for weaving because it's not super soft, or it's meh. I'm using it for making birds. Oh my god. It was really nice to do. I admit it's not the most perfect thing. Like, sometimes you see needle felted animals and they are just impressive of realism, and they look so nice and so perfect. And mine, every week the camera is going to stop, I think. Oh my god, I should just stop rambling and trying to make knitting tutorials with non-focused camera. Anyway, it's not the best felted bird. It's chubby. It looks like a Ninja Turtle, but it's my first needle felted bird, and I had fun doing it, and I don't know. I think it still looks cute, right? The cat doesn't care too much about it though. He's not really impressed. Enough of that. And yeah, before my phone completely stops recording, I'm gonna quickly talk to you about the knitting plans that I have. Last time I told you I wanted to make a saturate shawl, and now I have the entire color palette that I want to use, which is this. Yay! Doesn't that look perfect? So this is going to be my saturate shawl. This is Teacup by Hedgehog Fiber, Heyday by Hedgehog Fibers, and these are one-of-a-kind skeins made by Black Elephant. And I really want to cast this on. So yeah, apparently everybody needs me to stop filming right now. So I showed you the finished plans for my saturated shawl. I really want to cast it on, and I also wanted to show you. I only have one hand because yeah, you can see his ears here. I also wanted to, you upset kitty, yeah. I also wanted to show you this. So I had this skein and these. This is Bittersweet Symphony made by Black Elephant again, and another one-of-a-kind colors. And I had these two, and I thought they would look really nice together, and I wanted to design a shawl myself. And I started thinking about it and realized that what would be really nice would be to have a tonal skein to go with them, to have like quite a contrast thing. So I asked Petra, she's super nice, and was super kind of hard to accept because I know she has lots of work with her dyeing and with her normal work life and thing, and she accepted to dye me this this tonal blue. That's just a perfect match for these, and this is her new labels. And yeah, so I have my set of 3 skeins, and I want to make I want to design a shawl myself. I have some ideas about some design elements, but nothing too specific. I know that I want some brioche, and I know that I want stripes and fading and color, and I know I want some texture interest besides the color and the speckles, which is why I really wanted a tonal to have something to play with. And yeah, I think these look really good together, and I can't wait to start on this project. This will be my first big design, and the ideas are kind of all rumbling in my head, and yeah, I think I'm going to think about it a lot before starting it, which will allow me to get on the dozen other projects that I have. So yes, I am done with everything. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, even though it was a bit hectic and interrupted and noisy, and that I was a bit distracted, and I hope not destructive, but distracted, and not as smooth as I would like to be. But yes, I will see you next time, and I don't know when that will be, because yeah, I don't think I want to film another episode like this. But anyway, yeah, have a lovely time. Bye bye.